Cinematics play a huge role in today's modern gaming. From the ancients like Zelda, did I say ancients? I just aged myself. To modern ones like Last of Us 2, God of War, where they seamlessly transition from gameplay into a cinematic. So in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly that. We're going to blend between our first-person camera into a cinematic cutscene and then back into our first-person camera. And I just want to say thanks a lot for everybody who's watching the videos. My subscriber count's basically doubled since the beginning of the year, so I really appreciate everybody watching and who is subscribed. If you're not subscribed, my name's Taken Grace. I make Unreal Engine tutorials and videos just like this one. So if you want to grow together as a game dev, subscribe now, and let's get into the video. Alright, so we're inside the game here. This is the remnants of the interface tutorial that I did a couple weeks ago or whatever, but if you guys want to check that out, video card is in the top right corner. So we got our player character here. For this particular video, we're not using the game start or player start node. We're just going to have our first person character just dropped into the world. But if I just preview it here, so obviously our interact system, I can spin this cube, blow this cube up, and interact with this door. So it'll open when we interact with it. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be interacting with this door. I'll just start it over so it's open. So we're going to walk up. I'm going to interact with this door. We're going to cut to a cutscene where could start here, push in, and then once the door starts opening, we can then cut to the other side here, something like this. And we can push in, and then the door closes behind the player, and then we're going to kind of swing around and then become the first-person camera once again. So let's get started on that here. So the first thing we'll need to do is we need to create a level sequence. I'm just going to get rid of that camera in the corner. To do that, we're going to come up to this slate, and it is called a slate, not a clapperboard. I worked in film for 10 years. I know. Okay, so we're going to add level sequence. And in content, sure, whatever, we're going to call it door open. Okay, so it's going to open up the sequence editor here, and we need to do a couple of things. First thing we need to do is add a Cine camera so that we can actually do stuff. So we'll go to Cinematic, Cine camera actor, we'll add that into the level right here, and then we need to go to add, actor to sequence, Cine camera actor. Okay, that's going to put we'll put our actor into the sequencer here, and now you'll see that the viewport is the camera. So we are the camera right now, so anywhere we move around right now is where we're manipulating the camera's transform. Okay, so we're going to get kind of a opening shot the way we want it, something like this. Okay, so just be careful that you don't mess around with this because you will be changing the location of the camera, and we're going to turn on, or you want to make sure you're turning on auto keyframe, so you will literally automatically keyframe random moves in your camera, in your sequence, and you don't want that. So you can eject right here to get back to the regular viewpoint. You can see our camera right there. And then to regain control of your camera, you just click on the little Cine camera thing right here. It says lock Cine camera to actor to viewport, or selected viewport, or whatever it says. All right, so let's just adjust our camera settings right over here. So the first one here is our focus. So we have a focus thing right here, so you can change the focus manually throughout the scene. But down here, if you drop this down, you'll get this little eyedrop tool. So you can click on the eyedrop tool and then just click on the handle. And then now we know that the door is in focus. And focus starts to really matter the more higher your lens is. So you can change your different camera settings here. So you can go DSLR to get a full frame if you want, or you can just do the digital film. Okay, so in terms of the lens, so here's the focal length. So this is the size of your lens. Okay, so in film terms, 35 is like the standard lens that you use. It isn't used as commonly as you might think, but that's basically when you think of the standard like camera lens, it's 35 millimeter. 24 is pretty standard for like wide shots. So and then obviously the other one, 72, is pretty common. That's a tighter lens. So the higher you go, the tighter you're going to get, and the more depth of field you get. So you can actually create a really cool cinematic here, like, you know, for some reason we go to 150 millimeter lens. Here we are. So we're focused right on that handle right now. So as an actor walks in, they'll be probably a little out of focus. So you can pull focus from this handle to the hand or something like that if you wanted to get super creative. But just for the sake of this video, we're just going to do straight up 35 mil. Maybe we'll do 50 mil. Sorry, let's do 50 mil. It'll be cooler. So, all right, the last thing we want to change here in lens settings, we have the squeeze factor. So you can see right now that this is basically like a 4:3 aspect ratio. and we live in 2024 where we don't do that anymore. So we're going to do the squeeze factor 1.5, and that'll make it a bit wider here. And on that note, we can probably even go tighter. Maybe we can even do a 72. Yeah, we'll go back down to 50 here, actually. We'll just keep it just like that. Alright, so once you're happy with your camera settings, basically don't touch it. Don't change it unless you mean to, obviously. Like, so you can add, I believe you can add different things in here for the camera. Current aperture, all that kind of stuff. You can add a track in here and then add keyframes and just change it along the sequencer here. Okay, but we're just going to leave it all the same for now. Alright, the first thing we need to do is we need to add our door to our sequencer so that we can trigger specific events to happen in our sequence. Okay, so let's go to add, actor to sequencer, and let's get our door. Okay, on our door, we're going to add a, where are you? Event track, trigger track. Okay, we're going to go to about 15 frames in and then add a keyframe to this event track. We're going to click on that keyframe, right click, and go to properties. And right here, endpoint, this is where we can actually put an event into the sequencer blueprint to have things actually happen. So we're going to create a new endpoint. And it has opened up our sequencer blueprint. So just note that every time you add an event, all of them are going to say door event 1, door event 2, whatever. So probably a good idea to rename this. So this time we're going to do door open because we're going to open our door. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a custom event in our door. Because right now it's running off of, door right here. It's running off of our event interact blueprint interface event. So we're going to delete that, and we're going to delete this flip-flop node because we won't need it. And we're going to create a new custom event called, that tooltip is the worst, door open sequence, we'll call it, or sure, that works. Okay, we'll drag that into play from start, and so this is a timeline I made in the interface video that I was telling you guys about. We're just changing the rotation over 2 seconds to open this door, and then it's updating the world rotation of that. So after we've updated the world rotation, we're going to drag it to finished. We're going to get a delay node. We're going to delay for 0.5 seconds, and then we're going to reverse. So we're going to close this door after a certain amount of time. We're going to hit compile. Now we need to actually call this event, which is going to happen inside our sequencer blueprint. So we're going to drag out of door, because we're getting a reference. This is the reference to the actual door blueprint in our level. And we're going to door open sequence. Okay, we'll hit compile. Now, you'll notice if we go back to our sequencer here and we actually roll over this event that nothing happens, and that's because we haven't, we have to actually play our sequence in order for this event to work. So we need to do that inside, in this particular project, it might be a bit different in yours, but inside my player character where we actually interact with the door, this is where we're going to, or where I'm going to add my sequencer. So in this, we're doing a line trace, we're getting the hit actor, we're setting that hit actor, and then we're checking if it has the interface interact, which our door does. And then we want to check if it is a door at all. So in my door, if I go to class settings and I type in tag, I've put a tag on here called just door. And this is the only blueprint with that tag on there. So if I go back into my interact trace, we're checking to see if this hit actor has the actor tag door. And if it does, it's going to run this event. So we're going to not do the interact event anymore. And again, this is going to be different in your game based on whatever you have set up or whatever you're doing your sequencer for. It could be a trigger box. You enter the trigger box and that starts the sequencer or whatever the case may be. But in case you do that, all you need to do is create sequence, level sequence player. And then you just need to select the specific sequence that you are working on, which in this case is our door open. Okay, from return value, we're just going to type play. And where is it? This one here. Play. Play target is movie scene sequence player. And that's all we need to do there. And now when we interact with this door, it should start the sequence. So I'm going to hit compile and we're going to test it out here. There's our sequence, there's our door opening, and there's our door closing. Okay, so that is the coolest thing ever, just to see that cutscene is actually working. One thing I'm going to do is disable that line trace, whatever it is, because I don't want to look at it anymore. None. Okay, all right. Sweet. Anyways, let's add an animation in now. So to do that, we need to drag in an actual animation into the level. Whoops, see what I'm doing? I'm moving my camera because I'm a dummy. Okay, so let's add an actual animation into the level. So let's open our content drawer. I've imported the third-person character content pack. So if you to do that, you just go to Add, go up to the top, Import to Game, or pardon me, Add Feature or Content Pack, and then you just select third person, Add to Project. Then it's going to add everything in that project, including the mannequins, the animations, and inputs, blueprints, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that'll help you out in this regard. So I believe we go to Characters, Mannequins, Animations, Manny, and we're going to put in the idle animations. We'll drop that in right here. Okay. So we can't do anything with this animation unless it's added to the sequencer, okay? So we're going to add... you can actually, click on it, make sure the Manny animation is actually selected. And then when you go add actor to sequencer, it's going to be right at the top here. Add Manny mannequin idle. Okay. And we'll let it think, I guess, for a second. There we go. Okay. All right, so now we got this animation. So one thing to note, you'll notice that the control rig was brought in. And for this particular project, we're not adding or implementing any additional animations to the sequencer. So the animations won't play or won't work inside the sequencer unless you delete this control rig right here. So we're going to select that and hit delete. If you wanted to maybe play around with maybe creating a new animation by having Manny like walk up and then grab the door handle and open it or something like that, then that's completely up to you. Animation's not my forte. Personally, I don't have the patience for it, and I just create, you know, if AAA is the standard, mine are kind of B- animations. So, anyways, we're going to go over to animation here, and we're going to hit plus, and we're going to add in the animation that we want, which is the idle, Manny idle animation. Okay, so there's the animation. You can see that it's actually playing because we deleted that control rig. Okay. We don't need it to play for the entire time, so what we're going to do here is we're going to... I just held Control and Zoom to just change the timeline length, if you didn't know that. We're going to drag this back to 15 frames, just like that. And then we're going to... we'll duplicate this in a second, but we need to add a second animation, and it needs to be on a second animation track, so we're just going to do animation, and we're going to type in walk. And Manny walk forward. Okay, so it has to be on a separate track because we're going to blend these together so that they're actually separate things going on here. So I believe we need to drag this out just so it's overlapping a little bit, and then we're going to click on this, hold Alt, and then drag this over to the probably about here. We got to figure out where Manny's going to actually stop. Probably... I would say probably around here, so we'll stretch this up, and we, of course, make sure that it's overlapping just a little bit. And, okay, so let's just preview this and see how it looks. So, obviously, the animation starts, and then it's going to stop after a second, so that's great. So, if we click on this and push Control, is it Control Plus? Sorry, I'm thinking of my editing software. We're going to zoom in with Control and the mouse wheel. You'll see at the corner of this animation, we have a little yellow triangle. It's probably hard to see on the screen if you're watching on a smaller device, but if you are inside your Unreal Engine there, you are going to be able to see that. If you click and drag that, you'll see that little like kind of squiggly line there above my cursor and drag it. This is actually going to blend the previous animation with this one. So I'm going to blend it basically until this clip ends. So now when I play it, you'll see that it the animation just kind of, you know, maybe it can be a bit smoother. Let's see if we can make it a bit smoother here by dragging it out. And then we got to drag this out just so it matches. Yeah, that looks a bit better. Okay, so we'll do that on both here. Let's just drag this out. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have the animation playing, let's make Manny or Quinn, I guess this is, actually move. So we're going to go to the skeletal mesh, and we're going to add a transform track. Okay, here's our transform track. So on when Quinn actually starts to move, that's where we want to add a keyframe. So we're going to add a keyframe here, and then Quinn's gonna walk, and then Quinn's gonna come to a stop right about there, looks like. So let's add a keyframe here, and we're gonna click on Quinn, and we're gonna move Quinn to about there. All right, so that we can play the animation. The door's not gonna open because we haven't done the sequencer yet, but whoops. Did I mess up there? No, there we go. There it walks through the door, comes to a stop. Looks pretty good. Why don't we just actually preview that in the actual thing here? So we're gonna do this. So that looks pretty good. All right, pretty happy with that. So another thing I'm gonna show you here, if you go, you'll notice right here we don't have that little yellow circle in the camera cuts. You can enable that by right-clicking here, going to Can Blend, and that's going to make that appear. I'm thinking that the first camera, or the first cut from our gameplay camera to this Cine camera, I think should just be a quick cut. I don't think it should be anything crazy, but I do want to blend back into the actual camera for the gameplay. So I'm gonna just drag this out here at the end, and that's gonna blend from the Cine camera back to the gameplay camera. Okay. One thing I do want to point out here is we do have a couple of settings in this sequencer. If we go to, if we click on the actual sequencer itself, so down here you'll get some options like autoplay, loop, play rate, all that kind of stuff. Down here, cinematic. So you can disable the movement for your player, you can disable the looking of your player, you can hide your player, but in this case, because it's the first person character, we don't need to click hide player, because in our player character, in I think it's the class defaults, if you go down, I believe it's to the bottom here somewhere, it'll say only owner see. Only owner see, so you can actually check that, meaning that the only person that's going to see this mesh is the player, or the person who's piloting this particular character. Okay, so we don't need to worry about that being a thing, so let's watch it again. It just cuts straight to it. Quinn walks through. Okay. Don't worry about the weirdness at the end there, because we're gonna hide Quinn once this animation is done. So what we will do now, what happened there is I actually moved this thing, so we should move that back to the end. But so let's actually create a camera cut. So once Quinn's actually about to walk through the door here, we're gonna create a camera cut so that we don't so that we can cut to the other side there. So to do that, we can add another Cine camera to our scene here. So we're gonna do cinematic Cine camera actor, and we'll make it this one here. Let's add that to sequencer now. Add actor to sequencer. Camera actor 2. We can name these something else, like, you know, B cam, and where's the other camera? This guy. A cam, which is what they would be called in reality, in real film. A cam, B cam, C cam, whatever. Okay, so let's just set the frame on this guy. I think something like that looks pretty good. So, the reason they did this, like, if you think Zelda Ocarina of Time, where, like, Link goes through the door and then the camera cuts to this other side and, like, looks at Link, and then slowly we're gonna kind of move in and then turn around, is they needed to load the level, because the level wasn't, like, it was loaded, but it was loaded at, like, a very low res. I mean, Ocarina of Time had a lot of low res stuff anyway. But, yeah, the room was pretty low res, so that gave it a chance to kind of, like, up those LODs and stuff, just to make it look a bit nicer. Okay, so that's the frame I'm gonna start with. So now we're gonna do this. We're gonna do new binding B cam, and you can see that now we've created a cut here between the two cameras. Okay, so A cam, B cam. So now, you won't see it here because we're piloting the one camera, but you can see it literally says A cam and then B cam. So it's going to cut right here. So what we're going to do now is on B cam, we're going to add a, aperture. Oh, okay, this is a 35. Do we want a 35? We were on a 70, we were on a 50 before. What's the 50 look like here? We will do that, but we got to change the focus here, because you can see that Quinn's a bit soft there. So let's get focus settings, and we're just going to eyedrop Quinn. And now Quinn's in focus. And as Quinn moves, does Quinn lose focus? No, she looks fine. So let's we'll just stick with that here. But anyways, on B cam, let's get rid of A cam. We want the B cam transform. There we go. All right, location and rotation. Once again, we will click on that. Just make sure at the beginning here. Location and rotation. And then we are going to go to just before she stops. Probably right here. And now we can center her. Maybe just move over even a little bit and push in. Okay. And now we can see that's what our camera does. So we're going to follow Quinn a little bit. Push in, add some movement. Super cool. So we're going to continue that movement here. So that movement is like that very slow kind of pan dolly combo here. And then we're going to pick that up and we're going to actually frame Quinn out, and we're going to do what they call in the biz a Hollywood switch. So we're going to hide Quinn and replace that with our first person character and then blend back into that camera. Okay, so let's go right here. Like 140. And we're going to zoom in and do kind of, well, not over there. Okay, what does that look like? Does that look like dog diggity? Yeah, it does. So we're gonna add. I'd rather do this outside the camera itself because I want to add a. I just want to see what the camera's doing, so you can see like that's not quite what I'm looking for. It might be better just to change the lens as well. Let's do this, and let's tell the camera to go way out here instead. We can fix the rotation right now as well, just so Quinn gets kind of framed out. There, that's exactly what I was looking for. Okay, so Quinn walks in, and then the camera starts to spin around like that. And then we are going to blend back into our first-person camera. Okay, so that's what we're looking to do here. That's looking not too bad. Let's just preview that in this bit here. We're gonna we also have to do a little bit of a push in on A-cam here as well. Perfect, looks awesome. Okay, let's go to A-cam and let's do the slight push in here. So we're gonna do that right from the hop here. So transform. We'll do transform, or pardon me, location and rotation, even though we're not gonna really do too much there. And let's pilot A-cam. And we're literally gonna add. Don't do zoom, by the way. Zoom kills your career as a film director, by the way. If you just like zoom in like they do in documentaries and stuff, you want to add actual physical movement. So we're going to physically move the camera forward and watch Quinn go through the door. All right, so super cool. And then it's going to cut to the other one. Let's see what that looks like. Not too bad, everybody. Not too bad. All right, so I'm going to undo the camera move that I just did by accident, so I'm going to not pilot that anymore. All right, so we have our animations and stuff. Now we need to incorporate our player into it because our player actually triggers the start of this, and then we need to update our player's location because when the cutscene ends, it's going to have our player come all the way back. Actually, does it even do that right now? Let's just see. So we're going to watch the cutscene. And then it's going to cut back to our player. Yeah, so our player is still on the other side of the door, so we need to update our player's location and hide Quinn so that we don't see Quinn during this Hollywood switch here. So the Hollywood switch, let's just click on this just to see when she's out of frame. So she's out of frame right here. So we're going to run an event on Quinn. So on Manny Idol, do we have an event tracker already? We don't, so we're going to add one. Event trigger. Okay, on this trigger track here, we're going to add an event, and we are going to also add an event at the beginning of this, and we're going to hit what's it called, the plus here to add another keyframe. Before we do that, we're going to click on Quinn, we're going to go to rendering, and we're going to go to an uncheck visible, and we're going to do that because you'll be able to see Quinn if we don't do that. So we need to hide Quinn before the animation actually starts playing, and then we need to unhide Quinn right here. Okay, so where's that event track? Right here. We're going to click on that. We're going to go to Properties, Endpoint, and we can create a quick bind and just do Visible. Set Visibility. Okay, it opened it up on this other screen here, but we don't need to do anything with this. We just need to click and right-click this event once again, and then come down here to New Visibility. We want to check Visible. Okay, so now Quinn will show up when this cutscene starts, and then when we get to this point, we're going to do the same thing. Endpoint, create quick bind, it's visible. Set visibility to hidden. Okay, we just did it again. On this other screen here, again, just make sure that we're actually naming these. So hide Quinn, or sorry, unhide Quinn. Quinn. And this one was hide Quinn. Just so we know which ones do which. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Once again, we'll just right-click this keyframe and go New Visibility, make sure that that's checked false. Okay, we do want to do another event, so we can actually work off of this event as if we want to. We'll just create a new variable and call it Quinn Transform, and we'll make that a transform track. Okay, we're going to set Quinn's transform by getting the root component and getting get world transform. Okay, we'll hit compile. Let's go to our player now, which we don't have in this sequence yet. So this is why I told you to make sure that we have them actually in the level itself, because if we have it on event begin, or pardon me, if we have it on the game start thing, this guy here, player start, then he doesn't exist until we start the sequence. So by having him in the world, we can actually add him to the sequencer now, which we're going to do now. Add actor to sequencer, first person character. We're going to add a event track trigger. Okay, we're not going to do it on the same frame as the Quinn one. Where did Quinn go? Right here. Just want to see that here. Where's the events? There it is. We're not going to do it on the same one because this is where it's setting the transform. So we need to give it just a second to actually set the transform. So we're going to do it on 131 is when we're going to do this event for our players. So we're going to add a keyframe. We just need to add a keyframe, not add a whole new track. We're going to right click that and we're going to go to Properties, Unbound, create new endpoints, and it'll open our thing once again. And we're going to say sets new player transform, and all we're going to do is drag out of here and we're going to set world transform, and we'll do the capsule component. Okay, plug this guy in here, and then we need to teleport our player to that location so we're not doing any craziness, and then plug in the Quinn transform. Okay, so now when we check this out, it should switch to this, play our cinematic, and now it's gonna put our player at the, oh, it didn't work. Let's see why. It put our, see, when that happens, that means it put our player at the world origin, because this by default would be 000. So let's see. Oh, hey, look, I didn't plug that in. Silly me. All right, we'll hit compile. And let's check it out now. Make sure it works. All right. Boom. And then we blend back to the camera, but I'm in the floor. That is interesting. So the reason we're stuck is because we're physically inside Quinn's collision and we can't move. So we need to go to Quinn over here, and we need to go down to physics, collision, and we need to set her collision. Physics actor, no collision. We don't want her to have any collision whatsoever. All right, let's test it out, and it should work now. Let's open that up. Quinn walks through. Then we go back to our player, and we can move around. So the blending didn't work very well, I think. All right, so I figured out what the problem was with the cameras, like why I couldn't see that. So A-cam runs the entire length of this sequence. So I got to take A-cam and I got to shorten it all the way down to here where the beginning of B-cam is, and then make B-cam, let's do it at 145. And now I can click this and add a transition. All right, and we'll close that up. Now, it should work. There's our sequence starting. Kind of starts at looking at the ground, but that'll have something to do with the rotation and stuff. So, I mean, you can what you could do actually is you could do like an empty actor. Let's do so we can find where Quinn is. Well, we can't see Quinn because she's hidden, but let's just unhide her for a sec. Visible. So this is where Quinn is ends. So we can actually put another actor into the scene. So we can just go up here and just basic actor. And now here is the actor, and we're going to, I think we got to make sure the X is forward. So something like that. And then we can set our player's transform as this actor instead of Quinn. So you can add that into the sequencer here and do that, and then that could fix your the issue of because I think Quinn's transforms are slightly different than the player's transforms, so you could really make sure that it was all correct if you use this empty actor here and just fire off another event here with stuff you've learned in this video. So anyways, that will be the end of the video here. I do appreciate you guys joining me here. Hopefully you did learn something, especially how to make your own cool iconic cinematics for games. So anyways, if you guys have any questions, obviously let me know in the comments. Definitely would appreciate a subscribe. And if you guys have any more video ideas, let me know in the comments down below. I've had a couple people in other videos mention some things to me that they want to see, and this is one of the videos that somebody suggested is doing a camera blend between things. So you never know if you can get a tutorial made here from the comments. So I appreciate you guys joining me once again, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!